This is Bria Hartley right here, grinning from ear to ear with Sophie Cunningham smiling.
Bria Hartley dives for Sophie Cunningham's knees, doesn't even try to avoid the collision, doesn't try to move out the way. Bria Hartley sees Sophie's legs and says, that's the direction I'm going to fall in, even though...
And Sophie's mother, Paula Hartley, is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's playing mean and plays out of control.
Bria Hartley has been suspended after her cheap shot on Sophie Cunningham. Well, what else can we expect from this league and its officiating?
Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty player. Can continue to survive these things. Here you see Sophie Cunningham laid out on the floor, holding her knee. The lady was in tears, crying as Lexi Hull approached her to help her.
Bria Hartley has been suspended after her cheap shot on Sophie Cunningham. Well, what else can we expect from this league and its officiating?
People are looking too much into things. Smiling or not, nothing intentional happens in basketball. Now, on the other hand, Sophie hard fouling a player, like, yeah, she got called for attack. Like, I think we're looking too much into this. I think we are looking too much into this.
First, Caitlin Clark gets knocked out, and now these dirty players are targeting Sophie too. And the worst part, Hartley was actually caught smiling after giving Sophie a brutal knee injury. Absolutely pathetic.
That has emerged with Bria Hartley smiling and laughing over this incident of Sophie Cunningham being hurt.
Bria Hartley, I swear every time her name comes up, it's never about actual basketball skills. It's about how she's managed to turn the WNBA into her own little highlight reel of cheap shots. And this time she went after one of the toughest and most popular players in the entire league, Sophie Cunningham. We all saw it. Sophie goes down hard in the fever game after Hartley basically collapses right into her knee.
That chick grinning after Caitlin Clark got slammed to the ground. And then this chick.
The kind of fall that makes everyone watching grab their own leg because you can almost feel the pain through the screen. Sophie's clutching her knee, clearly in agony. And yet somehow she still manages to walk off the court. That's how tough she is. And what's Bria Hartley doing in the middle of all this chaos? Smiling. Yeah, actually grinning like she just won a lottery scratch card.
She's roared to being the second most popular player in the WNBA because I believe that's happened. And now the Indiana Fever has lost both of their top draws
after a Caitlin Clark got slammed to the ground. And in this chick, the second Sophie's on the ground writhing, Hartley's over there with that smug face, and fans lost their minds. Outrage instantly hit social media, with people calling it despicable, cheap, dirty, and demanding the WNBA actually do something for once in their lives. Because let's be real, the Fever were already hanging on by a thread after multiple star injuries. And Sophie going down is like the league's worst nightmare. Her absence could flat out their season. And here's Hartley acting like it's just
really
another
is.
Tuesday.
There's a lot of people celebrating this injury. And guess what? You can imagine who it is.
But honestly, should anyone even be surprised? Because this isn't Bria Hartley's first rodeo when it comes to nonsense like this. No, she's got an entire dirty resume that could get her a Hall of Fame induction in foul play. Let's start with the Angel Reese ponytail incident. Picture this. Mid-aim, Hartley decides the best way to play defense is to literally grab Angel Reese by the ponytail. And she didn't just tug it.
Grabbing Angel Reese's ponytail, what are we, in preschool? Body checking Skylar Diggins in the open court. What are we doing? Clawing at Rebecca Allen, leaving marks on her shoulder, leaving blood.
Oh no. She wrapped it around her hand for extra grip like she was trying to reel in a fish. Who does that? This isn't preschool. It's professional basketball. But that's Bria's style. When she can't outplay you, she'll outpull you. And then there's the Skylar Diggins collision. Any other player would have tried to defend, slide their feet, keep their hands up. Not Hartley. She figured, why bother with defense when you can just body check someone like you're auditioning for the NHL? She straight up ran into Diggins in the open court. No basketball move, just reckless, cheap contact. Classic Bria.
Falling into Sophie Cunningham's knees. Bria Hartley is a dirty player. There's no other way to slice this cake. There's no
And don't even get me started on the Rebecca Allen situation. Hartley somehow managed to turn a basketball possession into a WWE audition, scratching and clawing Allen so bad she left visible marks on her shoulder, blood, scratches, and then standing over her like she was ready to throw punches. What is that? At what point do we just admit Hartley plays basketball like a frustrated middle schooler who can't keep up?
Watch out for Bria Hartley because she's a dirty ass.
Because this isn't about competition. It's about her trying to stay relevant by making headlines with her antics. She's had multiple flagrant fouls just in the 2024-25 season alone. She's literally one of the most notorious dirty players in the league, and critics have been saying it for years. Hartley doesn't stay in the WNBA because of skill. She stays because she's figured out how to ride on the coattails of real stars. People like Caitlin Clark, people like Sophie Cunningham. Without these cheap shots, no one's even talking about her. She'd just be another forgettable name on a roster. Instead, she's become infamous for being a walking foul machine.
This is Hartley right here coming in.
Right there, and Hartley just kind of falls
and she crushes in on the knee of Sophie right here.
And that's exactly why this latest hit on Sophie Cunningham feels so disgusting. Because of all people, Sophie doesn't deserve it. She's been climbing the popularity ladder fast. In fact, a lot of people have been calling her the second most followed player in the WNBA, right behind Caitlin Clark. And it makes sense. Sophie's fearless, she's fiery, and she plays with this night raw in the me, night raw in the me.
Gonna look like Stephanie White is extremely emotional after this hard-fought game. Sophie Cunningham family is extremely pissed off.
She's even got her own nickname, Sophie the Trophy. You don't get a name like that unless people genuinely love watching you play. But you know what else? Sophie's got a track record of being targeted. She's been taking cheap hits left and right, and somehow she always bounces back. Let's break down her highlight reel of abuse. In preseason, she literally got suplexed by Kiki Fenine. Like this was no basketball move. This was WWE Monday Night Raw in the middle of a WNBA game.
I think we are looking too much into this, like Bria Hartley smiling after Sophie.
Then Brittany Sykes shoved her down in another game, just outright throwing her like it was playground ball. Sophie's also eaten elbows to the face more times than anyone can count. And in an earlier game against the Sun, she got hurt stepping on her own teammate Aaliyah Boston's ankle. You'd think after all this she'd slow down. But no, Sophie's not built like that. She refuses to stay down, and that's what makes her so different. Even after Hartley's reckless dive into her knee, Sophie still smiled in the locker room. That's who she is. Tough as nails. Fans see it too. She doesn't just play basketball. She fights through everything the league throws at her. But this is exactly why people are furious.
Sophie Cunningham got into it with early in the season. What are the odds? What are the odds this incident takes place with Bria Hartley? A player that's found herself in the center of flagrant fouls, in the center of pulling ponytails many times this season.
Because Sophie Cunningham is one of the few marketable stars the WNBA has. She's charismatic, she's popular, and she actually gets fans tuning in. Losing her to yet another dirty play, that's like shooting yourself in the foot if you're the league. People are sick of seeing the best players getting taken out while repeat offenders like Hartley skate by without real punishment. And fans aren't dumb.
It's just emotional, guys. I'm hella mad. Hartley need to be suspended on a major level completely. Probably at this point, she's more dirtier than DJ character.
The odds? What are the odds this incident takes place with Bria Hartley, a player that's found herself in the center of flagrant fouls, in the center of pulling ponytails many times this season? They see Sophie getting fined for calling out bad officiating, but Hartley gets to run around pulling ponytails, scratching players, and now collapsing knees like it's a hobby. It's embarrassing for the league. The anger isn't just about Sophie getting hurt. It's about the WNBA failing to protect the very stars who bring people to the games. Sophie's injury has become the last straw for a lot of fans who are tired of seeing dirty players ruin the product.
Based on your previous action, your reputation precedes you. Based on your previous actions, I need to assume all of these plays that you take place in are dirty plays, because that's the kind of player you are.
Bria Hartley isn't unlucky. She isn't misunderstood. She's a repeat offender with a highlight reel full of nonsense. And the Sophie Cunningham incident just proves it all over again. Sophie goes down hard. Fans hold their breath. And Hartley, she's smiling like she's proud of herself. That's who she is. That's her legacy. A walking foul machine who lives for cheap shots, while players like Sophie actually carry the weight of the league.
Can somebody please explain those physics? Again, don't want to hear it, because this is a dirty player. All the defending that people might want to do, because there are some defenders out there, believe it or not, all the defending people might want to do for Bria Hartley, she deserves none of it.
The footage doesn't lie. The second Sophie Cunningham hit the ground clutching her leg, Bria Hartley is caught on camera grinning like she just pulled off some grand master plan. Fans didn't even have to squint. The smirk was there, plain as day, and the internet exploded. Screenshots, slow motion replays, Zoommed-in frames, the whole 9 yards.
Bria Hartley doesn't even deserve to be on a roster in this league. Sophie Cunningham's family saying, what's going on here? You guys are calling out Sophie Cunningham, finding Sophie Cunningham for calling out the officiating. Meanwhile, you're letting players just take dives.
To Sophie's supporters, this wasn't just a coincidence. It was the smoking gun. Proof that Hartley didn't just fall into Cunningham's knee. She knew exactly what she was doing and she was proud of it. You don't get hurt and immediately light up with a smile unless you're enjoying the chaos you caused. That's why fans branded it despicable, a deliberate act, and demanded punishment from the league.
They wanted to hurt Sophie. They made it their business to hurt Sophie, and that's exactly what they did, was hurt Sophie, and I'm hella mad.
And then came the experts. Dr. Brian Sutterer, who's basically the go-to guy for sports injury breakdowns on YouTube, chimed in on August 17, 2025. His take, the footage suggested it wasn't likely an ACL tear, but more likely an MCL tear or possibly a knee dislocation, which by the way is still careering. An ACL might have ended everything immediately, but an MCL tear that could sideline Sophie for the rest of the season. And if it's dislocation, that's brutal pain, weeks of recovery, and the constant risk of re-injury. Either way, Cunningham's future for this year is hanging by a thread because Hartley thought it would be fun to collapse into her leg. If the goal was to damage one of the Fever's brightest stars, congratulations, Bria. Mission accomplished.
Sophie's sister Lindsay and her mom Paula. At WNBA, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game, protect your athletes.
Analysts have even said it plainly. The league needs to drop the hammer. A 20 to 22 game suspension, half the season, plus loss of salary would send a clear message. Cheap shots won't be tolerated, period. But are we going to see that? Of course not. Fans already expect radio silence from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. They expect nothing more than a shrug while the players most responsible for ratings are left unprotected. And that silence is killing trust. If Clark and Cunningham can't stay on the floor, TV ratings dip. Ticket sales crater. The same fans who just got invested will walk away and the WNBA will be right back where it started. Struggling to stay relevant. And that leads us back to Hartley herself. Because let's be honest, whether or not this specific play was intentional almost doesn't matter anymore. Her reputation is so toxic that she gets zero benefit of the doubt. None. Her track record speaks louder than any excuse. Ponytail yanking body. Checks, scratching players' bloody, collapsing knees. It's a pattern. That's who she is. So, when Sophie Cunningham hit the floor, fans didn't see an accident. They saw Bria Hartley doing what Bria Hartley always does and they're done with.